Alright, we just got in a new Roccat Savu, or Savu, I'm not sure how to say it. You know, I kind of just made the switch to optical mice because I love the accuracy, and you know, a lot of people say you can't tell the difference, but if you're someone that is really obsessive about accuracy and things like that, you can tell the difference between a laser mouse. Even the new, you know, high-end 8200 DPI laser mice, the accuracy just feels different. Optical mice feel more like a natural pointer rather than the laser mouse, which I feel is almost it's almost like it's got a smoothing applied to it. It's really hard to explain. It's just something you feel. It's almost too perfect. It's really it's almost robotic. But the optical mice I really like because they feel like a natural one-to-one movement to what you're doing with your hand. So anyway, with the Savu, you have a pretty, what I consider a small mouse. It's not, you know, the smallest out there. It's not like the CM Storm or anything like that. But it is very narrow. So probably my biggest complaint for me personally was how narrow it was. It wasn't quite a fit for me because of that. Now I have pretty big hands. I'm 6'2", so if you have small hands, this is a mouse I would definitely recommend because it's got really good ergonomics. It's got a great grip to it. Just with my larger hands, even though I feel like I can grip it pretty well, it just feels too narrow. It's something think if my hands are naturally like this, spread out, think how much I'm coming in. Obviously no one plays with a mouse like that, but I'm coming in quite a bit, where on the something like the DeathAdder, it's quite a bit wider where you grip. Probably just, you know, we're talking a centimeter at most, but it makes a big difference. As far as the finish, Roccat, I mean, I would put them up there with Logitech as far as using good quality material, unlike, you know, Razer, which, you know, it's fine. I know they get a bad rep for their materials, but it's true. You pay top dollar for Razer, and sometimes you tend to feel like their stuff is cheap. You know, the DeathAdder, even the new one, has kind of this hollow feel, like it's kind of lighter plastic, where this has a nice, it's a very light mouse, but you can tell the material used was heavy duty. So it gives it a good kind of heft. I mean, I can barely tell the difference. The Roccat might be a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think the Roccat's lighter than the DeathAdder. So as far as material used, the top is the rubberized grip. I think Roccat has some of the best rubberized grip. I don't know why it's different. As gamers, we have this stuff everywhere. But something just feels so much higher quality about the one Roccat uses. On the left and right, you have what they call a sweat-proof grip material. This is kind of different. I could see some people not liking this, but it's kind of almost got a gritty feel, but nothing uncomfortable. It's very comfortable. It doesn't like chafe your hand or anything. It is truly grippable. I mean, there is no slipping on this stuff. Even more than the rubber, which actually tends to be kind of smooth and kind of almost powdery feeling, like powder. If anyone has a Logitech or has felt the Logitech G700, they'll know exactly what this feels like. It's almost identical, that kind of gritty feel to the G700. If anything, I think the G700 has even more grit to it. I had the G700 and it almost felt like I kept having to wipe off the dirt. This one's not quite like that. It's kind of smooth. Smoother. It's definitely not smooth. It's got a grit, but it's smoother. It doesn't have like particles on it. So this little strip here, which looks like a mouse button, isn't. It's just another strip of the rubber from the top, because I think they expect you to rest your ring finger there and then grip with your pinky there. So this is really good for the claw grip. You can see if you do it to their placement. You know, it adapts to the grips pretty well. If I palmed it, you can see like it's just way too small if I truly palmed it. Now if I kind of did a hybrid palm, claw, whatever, it works pretty well, but again it's too small for me. The right, you have just very minimal branding, which I like. I love when they just you know, keep it to a minimum. I don't really care about the brand once I buy it. You know, I don't care about the branding and looking down and saying, oh yeah, there's a cat face or something on there. So they keep that minimal, which is a plus. Then you have a nice indentation for your thumb, which kind of helps, but honestly your thumb just kind of goes past that anyway. I love having a ridge here though. It's very important to have, for me, it kind of lets your thumb rest. So that is probably the most important part, is this ridge right here. So you have the 2 buttons here, which are typical. Some reviews are complaining that placement on this is awkward. I actually disagree, because those reviews which I found were having the dude in the photos click like this with the top of his thumb. And personally, I never do that anyway. Sometimes I will, you know, with the front one, but when I'm gaming, I roll my thumb and use like kind of the knuckle, the inside of my knuckle here, and push with that. And when you think of that, this back button is perfectly placed. Now that's with the shift button, or with Roccat, this is a shift button. So via the software, you can assign a whole second set of functions. So this can become volume. You click here and the mouse wheel can become volume up and volume down, which is super awesome. Or you can like assign grenade to button 2. So shift, throw grenade, and unshift, you know, I would zoom in like in Borderlands. Which is really nice. You know, you're not getting a lot of buttons out of this. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the click on the mouse wheel, and of course scrolling. Nothing, I mean, you get that with every mouse. So it's kind of the bare bones, is why I say it's kind of entry level. They're just giving you a very good basic mouse here with a nice grip. Last part of the hardware is the light here. This is a customizable LED, which has got a really nice glow to it. So that was a nice bonus for kind of a, you know, I got this mouse for 50 bucks, which is pretty much, you know, a pretty entry level price when you start getting into the gaming mice. Anywhere from $50 to $130 for these gaming mice. It's crazy. So you definitely get your money's worth with Roccat. I mean, 50 bucks is completely a fair price. I got this at Micro Center, but I think on Amazon and Newegg, that's about what they're going for. Now for probably the best part of Roccat mice, their feet. I don't know what they do. They almost make them kind of, you know, shaped to where they bowl out a little bit, just a touch, just enough to where there's no scraping on any edges. I know with a lot of mice, even the DeathAdder, I mean, you could see the difference in the feet here. DeathAdder covers just enough, and of course you would think it's just about the contact points, which is true, but having a bigger surface area means reduced friction overall. And it, man, if that's not, obviously that's not a scientific study or anything, but it's easy, because when you really compare these two with basic feet on an aluminum pad. Now listen to the DeathAdder. Make sure that you can hear the noise there. Now with the Roccat, I mean, it's to me it's night and day. So it's so quiet. That's the best part. Their cone is like that too. Their feet are just great. They really know how to put those things with the big surface area. And like I said, I think they kind of shape like out a little bit, just so that the only thing contacting it is the Teflon. Of course, you get a nice braided cable with a little bit of a tension thing here to you know, to kind of prolong the life there. So it's really durable. Not a gold-plated USB cable. That doesn't really matter. You get some nice branding there. A really cool little USB casing there. Tracking is awesome. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just as good as the DeathAdder 2013. The one bummer, software-wise, you can only go in those exact increments. 400, let me see again, what's it say? 400, 800, 1600, and 4000 DPI. Unfortunately, I like to game at 600 DPI. So that involves, you know, you're out of luck. You only have those adjustable settings. And so if you're used to something like 600 DPI, you're going to have to adjust the sensitivity as well. And I get a little weird about that because I feel like I'm kind of using software to adjust what is native in the hardware. So I might not be right about that, but I think, you know, with certain sensors, they are only running a one-to-one comparison with software, with what's on the hardware. I mean, of the optics. So that's kind of a bummer, but not a big deal, obviously. And like I said, tracking is awesome. Very accurate mouse. I would recommend it to someone with small hands. You're gonna love it. For an entry-level mouse, it is just an awesome recommended mouse. But again, for me, it's not quite cutting it because I have the larger hands. So if you have big hands, I'd probably stay away. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them. But that covers it for the Roccat Savu mouse, however you say that.